Welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show. All I'm saying, next time, bring the evidence. All you do, you come here, all the corruption. Just here. Next time you come, bring yourself. I am not talking about that. I'm talking about you in 2024, December, saying there's corruption. Bring it.
Let me ask you this question. I would like to ask the AG to propose legislation for what we call small claims court. There are lots of poor people, to an example you just gave, that they have issues with others and sometimes with large firms, but the lawyer fee is greater than the fee you're claiming.
It is their right. The right that someone has. All of our rights exist in context.
What is the context of second medical opinion?
Because you disrespected the process.
No.
Jesus, this is common sense, man.
Any situation which you seem to do, you're just dealing with Afro-Guyanese issues. If one, you can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing. And if two, you can't put forward a future, a blueprint, and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
Good evening. Welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show. Wherever you are, based in different time zones, good night, good morning, good afternoon. A pleasant welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show. This evening we're discussing perhaps the most tragic episode of genocide in the history of the world. I did not say perhaps one of the most. I say the most tragic because in none of the wars the past thousands of years that human history has seen wars, there is no army that goes about killing, deliberately targeting women and children and killing them. There has been no war in which opposing armies have singled out women and children to be killed. The Nazi regime of Adolf Hitler never did that, and I want to emphasize, never did that. What is happening in Gaza the past 2 months is as women and children line up for food, the Israeli jet fighters just bomb them and kill them. And I want to make that clear, unambiguous and pellucidly forceful. People, women and children who are lining up for food in Gaza are being killed. Now, when the war started, when the Israelis started their invasion of Gaza, there were guerrilla warfare on the part of Hamas. Hit and run, you attack the tank, you attack Israeli soldiers. Israel bombed buildings that they say Hamas fighters were in. What we're seeing the past 2 months is that it's finished with. There is now the expressed desire of the worst government in human history, the Netanyahu government of history, to kill a particular race, just wipe them out, called the Palestinians in Gaza. That explains why they have been bombing children and women lining up for food. Every day they bomb these food sites, killing women and children. It is something never before seen in history. Our panel have been here once, twice over the months, over the past 2 years, discussing Gaza. We decide to discuss Gaza because the world, the entire world, never believed that the Gazan invasion by the Israeli would come to this. And I will conclude this preamble by saying this is the worst government in human history. The Benjamin Netanyahu Israeli government. They have made the Nazi regime of Hitler look like school children. And I say this as a trained academic that has taught history for 26 years at our university. No, 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 no. This is the worst government than the Nazi regime in Germany. Here to discuss this, I don't know what word to describe it, what's going on in Gaza. Are three Muslim teachers that have been around for a very long time. They run different mosques in this country. We are broadcasting from the Ahmadiyya Mosque, next to one of the most iconic buildings in Guyana, the national headquarters of the NIS. We're broadcasting from the upper flat of the Ahmadiyya Mosque, courtesy of its Imam, Brother Mansoor Nadir. To my immediate right is the Imam Mansoor Baksh, sorry. To my immediate right is Imam of Metamezak Mosque, Halim Khan, and then to my far right is Brother Yusuf, Haseeb Yusuf, formerly of the Guyana Islamic Trust. All three of them have been on this program more than 2 times. So I start with, alphabetically, Imam Baksh. Mansoor, could you give us our take? What is happening in Gaza? Every day, 3, 4, 5 dozen women and children lining up for food are being killed. It is an incredible aberration in human history.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I bear witness that there is no God except Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, is the messenger of Allah. He's the last of the prophets, after whom no prophet could come, whether new or old. I am pained to be here sitting, talking about people who are being shot as they seek food. We are talking about a people where hunger is used as a weapon of war. We're talking about a people who are dying. We are talking about a deliberate attempt to eradicate a people from their own land. And it is sad. But to give you the statistics, I will leave that for my brother Noel to do. What I want to do, I want to put it into perspective, because when we examine the atrocities that are going on, at this ongoing genocide that's happening before our eyes, we can't say we have not seen it. Nobody could say they have not seen this issue. It's on TikTok, it's on all the social media, and people are seeing it all the time. So we are aware that people are dying. But what does the scripture has to say about it? I want to quote verse chapter 3, verse 110. You are the best nation raised up for mankind, addressing the Muslims. You enjoin good and forbid evil, and you believe in Allah. And if the people of the book had believed, it would have been better for them. And this is the line that I want us to focus on. Some of them are believers, but most of them are transgressors, unquote. So among the disbelieving people, they are transgressors, but they are also believers. And today I want to hail out those of our Jewish brothers and sisters who have joined us in this fight and who are fighting for the Palestinian cause. I want to call them out. I want to hail them up. I want to say to them that we acknowledge your fight, because this is not a fight for Muslims. This is a fight for humanity. What is happening in Gaza is not happening against a religion. It's happening against a people. By chance they are Muslims, and by chance we are Muslims, and we feel for them. But as a human being, when a child is shot sometimes twice, one on the heart and one on the brain, you want to know what wrong that child would have done. Why is it that the child is targeted? A simple answer. The Zionists, the evil forces who are in power, and of course, I think I made that distinction very clearly. Not all Jews are enemies. No, that's not right. That's not right to think. Not all Christians are enemies. That's not right to think. God Almighty will put all the good people in heaven and all the bad people in hell. The good among us from the Muslims will go to heaven. Those of us whose hearts are hard like stone, we will also end up in hell. So this call that I'm making here today is the call to recognize the good among all the nations, among all the people who are standing up, crying for this genocide that is going on right now. As we are talking here, we have fresh air. The people there, they don't know what's coming next. They don't know when they will get their next meal. And you know what's very refreshing about it is that they are not without hope. They are not crying in a sense over their ill luck. They are celebrating. Whatever little food they have, they say praise God. We have one of our doctors from our Jamaat in USA. She just did she did a stint a while ago in Gaza and came back, Dr. Aisha, and she said the doctors there who we see working in the hospital, they are working there without pay because there is no government to pay them, and there's no one to pay them. They turn up to work, and they turn up to work just for the sake of their own people. We're talking about sacrifice. That is sacrifice. We're talking about love. There you would see love. So today, as we talk and we reflect, let us recognize that what is happening in Gaza is happening because we are silent about it. Because we as a nation, we as a people cannot unite, cannot say with one voice, stop this madness. We cannot say, stop this inhumane treatment of human beings. The world agreed that no human child should go hungry. The world agreed that we should not have this kind of aggression. Yet we are seeing it. And as my brother Freddie rightly pointed out, we have never seen such violence, such atrocities, such aggression in the history of mankind. Yet we are asleep. I thank you for listening to me, and I hope and pray that God will give us a way how to stand up for these people who need us at this time.
Imam Halim Khan.
Firstly, let me say and greet you with the universal greetings of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Meaning, may the peace and blessing of the Almighty God be upon you. All of us sitting here, and those out there would have agreed with me today, that today is a very hot day. We are under a shelter here, and yet we are feeling that heat. Can you imagine that this very building where we are under here, the army come, or the military come, and break it down and put you on the streets, and there is nowhere to go. Today I'm fasting too also. I'm feeling really dehydrated with the thirst. But this is to demonstrate and with the steadfastness of the Palestinian people. After I would have break my fast this evening, I can get a bottle of water or some water from the tap. There is millions of persons, millions of our brothers and sisters in Palestine, from the small one, from the cradle to the grave, they don't have a drop of water to drink. And when they do get some water to at one point, as the whole world would look, was watching just 2 weeks ago, this Syrian was going for water with some jar to collect some water to take it home for the home. And what the Zionists would have done? They bombed those small children, and then they say that is a mistake. Even the Prime Minister of Israel, he said there is no starvation in Palestine. And the whole world is looking, and not just Muslim, the Muslim leaders around the world, they zip them out a little bit. But we have seen that the non-Muslim who are care about humanity, what they call it, they said genocide by starvation. This is all what we should look at Palestine presently now, as a genocide by starvation. We have seen that the West, they can put out sanction to every single body, every single, they don't agree with you because of the tariff or something, they put a sanction on you. And the very same people, they said they're standing up for justice. You could see that what is being happening in Palestine, and not just that, Gaza, where the war, I would not call it war because there's nothing matched with an army. The Israeli, they have tanks, they have planes, they have everything. What the Palestinians have, or what the people from Gaza have. They have that faith and they believe in the Lord. That is what they're fighting with, and I would not say they are terrorists or whatever the case may be. The number one terrorist in the world presently now is Israel. Israel is the number one terrorist. I would not look at this as they are resistant fighters. And resistant fighters come under international law. That anyone or any person or any army come to occupy your land, you have the right to resist. And also, with the convention, also it said that the prisoner of war, or whenever you have a war, you cannot use starvation on your POW, the prisoner of war, or the people who you're fighting. You cannot take away water from them, you cannot take away food. And for a surety, if they had control, if Israel had control over the air, what they breathe, I think they would have shut it off. I think they would have shut it off. So by
everything else.
So every single thing else, they oppose of aid going on to the Palestinian people. And we can see that a 5-year-old kid, a 5-year-old child, we do not look at them as a Muslim, but we look as that is a child. And we have, sometimes we have all the RTs come up to say, save the children of the world. What is happening in Gaza? What is happening in Palestine? They are not children. What happened? They are just numbers. They are not just numbers. They are human beings. Because if you cut any one of them, they would bleed, and they would bleed red. They would not bleed water. So you have over 2.2 million Palestinians is in the crisis now of forced starvation. Children go out, as we see it on national television, they go out in the morning very early with a pot or whatever, they may have a basin or something, to go try to seek some help to get some food. And they spend all day sometimes, and some days they were shot at or even bombed. When I said shot at, with live bullets, or even they throw a bomb on them. And sometimes they go home with that same pot or that basin where they leave their home with. They come back, they go home back with that empty pan, without a drop of water, without that food. So this is not the regular heat which we are facing here, which is no rain or the place is humid. But this, what they have in Gaza and Palestine, it is a man-made destruction. It is the people who support Israel, they're the one who are causing that, sending bombs, sending live bullets and everything to them. Can you imagine with the starvation, a 5-year-old kid, if you put them on a scale to weigh them, they might have about 10 or 12 kg, which is less than 30 pounds. So we have all this is going on, and yet
2 kg is 4 pounds.
Yeah, 2, yes, 3, yes. So let us look at that 12 kg for that 5-year-old child. As of today, you have, Monday I'm talking about, today, you have 41 persons being killed. They have been massacred by the Israelis. And out of that 41, 20 of them went out to search for food. and the Israeli, either they snipe them, or they bomb them, or they shoot at them randomly, as if this is a dog. But what they have been doing with this, I wouldn't say war, but this advantage on these people, is just that if you see a small rat in your home and you want to catch that rat, you put a bait of cheese or something on the table to attract that rat. So if the people are hungry and you put just an empty pan with a fire underneath and you just do like you're storing it with some water, they're gonna come and line up. So they actually bring them, bait them, I would say, just as you bait an animal and kill all of them. We all have to stand out as one, because as one people, not as Guyana, one people which we talk about, but as a world, we should stand out as one against what they are doing with humanity.
Haseeb?
Thank you.
In case our viewers do not know, Haseeb spent a few years in Saudi Arabia, so he feels the pangs of disappointment of how an entire race of people called the Arab race could just watch a country of 8 million people and just 8,000 square miles just genocidally getting rid of a group of Arab people called Palestinians. I will have more to say in how I feel about races of people. We should not talk about races of people, but I am unapologetically going to speak at how I feel about a race called the Arab race. But over to Brother Haseeb.
Thank you, Freddie. Brothers and sisters, peace. Alhamdulillah. First, I want to thank my professor, I should say, when he's still my professor until now. I studied politics on the Iman University. And I want to thank you for keeping this Gaza in the forefront. This is very important. We all have an obligation to talk about Gaza. The people of Gaza are asking us all over the world, please don't forget us. Please talk about us. Please talk about us. Please talk about us. This is their appeal to the global population, that we should not turn our backs on Gaza. We should not stop talking, because they are enduring, like he rightly said, what all numerous, I should say, hundreds, maybe thousands of international lawyers, genocide scholars, including Jewish genocide, Israeli Jewish genocide scholars, human rights activists, social advocates, all over the globe, from very early described as an unfolding genocide. And the ICJ also ruled very early in this, in the beginning of this genocide, that it's plausible genocide that is being committed. The stunning thing is, we allowed 2 years, almost 2 years, before, and not even up to now, no tangible action has been taken to stop this genocide. This is what is disturbing to me, and disturbing to people around the globe. And people from then have sounded the alarm. Had any decisive action been taken in the beginning, when Israel was crossing all of the red lines they were breaking. They were flouting international laws. They were openly expressing their intent to commit genocide in Gaza in the very beginning. 2 days after October 7th. After October 7th, October the 9th, the war criminal, now convicted war criminal, wanted in The Hague, He said that there will be no electricity, there will be no water, there will be no food, there will be no medicine in Gaza. He expressed intent. The Prime Minister talked about Amalek. The President talked about no innocence in Gaza. Other officials talk about nuking Gaza. Other officials talk that they want hell, they would get hell. Genocide intent was clearly expressed. The Special Rapporteur on the occupied territories, Francisca Albanese. We have all supported our nomination to be given the prize, the Nobel Peace Prize. An incredible lady. From the very beginning, sounded the alarm. She begged the United Nations, take decisive actions. Freddie, you know, the UN Secretary General never called this a genocide. He never took decisive action. They were all duped by Israeli falsehood and deception and lies, which they have done for 75 years. They tried to play victim. They tried to blame the Palestinians for every single thing. They dehumanized them. They dispossessed them. They displaced them. They replaced them. Now they are starving them in the most gruesome manner. Undescribable, unimaginable suffering. And I want to agree with him that this is the Holocaust, which is supposed to be never again after World War II, after the Jewish genocide. Here we are at the crossroad. And what is disturbing is that nobody is taking decisive action to stop it. It's all empty rhetorics. It is all politics. Just politics, empty politics. You know, trying to save themselves. European leaders now trying to make statements to try to calm the anger on the streets. And listen, the Arab leaders and Arab governments around there, they are complicit. They are complicit in genocide. We have to call the spade the spade. They have done nothing. They showered Trump with praises. They showered him with trillions in investment in gifts. They give him, Qatar gave him an airplane. They give him also, and nobody spoke about Gaza. Gaza was not mentioned. Syria was mentioned, Gaza was not mentioned. Nobody tried to stop the genocide. Look, these children are starving. It's unconscionable for anyone to look at the images and not to do anything. This is an indictment against all of us. You know why? Because every single country, Freddie, you know that, and every single country in the world have signed the UN Charter and signed the Convention on genocide and the prevention and punishment of genocide. And everybody has an obligation. All the citizens of the world are obligated to do something about genocide. This is the crime of the century. This is the crime of crimes, to eradicate and to annihilate and to destroy, in whole or in part, an ethnic, racial, religious group. This is ongoing. We are seeing this before our eyes. It is the time, well, it has long gone the time to act. But we have reached the point where the people are dropping. We appreciate the resilience of the Palestinians. For 2 years, this is resilience never seen before. But they can't cope any longer. How long will they endure? They can't. It's not humanly possible anymore. So they are dropping, one by one. The vulnerable groups will go first, Freddie. This is why we see the children dying. The babies are dying. Malnutrition, no food, baby formulas were not allowed. The doctors will try to smuggle in their knapsack. baby formula. The guards will take them away at the borders, going into Gaza. Taking away baby formula, taking away medication for children. The children are dying, the babies are dying. The children are dying. The elderly people are dying out. The vulnerable groups are going. Now the doctors are fainting on their jobs. The healthcare workers, they have been killed. You know, the largest amount of healthcare workers ever killed. Humanitarian workers, journalists, doctors, medical workers. This is all, every single international humanitarian law have been broken by Israel. What is the world waiting for? This is not about Muslims. This is not about Palestinians alone. This is about any oppressed people in the world. Any oppressed group of people in the world. They deserve the right to be assisted. And we are obligated by the United Nations Convention, all the citizens of the world. But you know what? The people who have the power, who are entrusted with the people's power, governments are representatives of the people. So they are the ones who have the responsibility to take the first action. Why is it that we have to come out on the streets and protest? 300,000 people protested the other day in Sydney, right? Hundreds of thousands on the streets of Paris, in the Netherlands, in London. Parliamentarians, EU parliamentarians, British parliamentarians,
even Tel Aviv.
Even in Tel Aviv, all over the world, people are talking in the streets, but the governments are not acting. The international system is broken, Freddie. Forget about the international system. There is no international system, there is no world-based order anymore in the world. Our priority is to stop the genocide now, to save this ethnic group. But imagine what will happen after the genocide. What will happen to our world that we are going to live in after the genocide, post-genocide, Gaza? How are we going to live in a system where there will be no order, there will be no law? Because there will be the Wild West, the law of the jungle, survival of the fittest. You know, so what goes around comes around. Unless we act now to stop this genocide and to try, listen, the consequences of the genocide is irreversible for the Palestinian people. Generations are going to die, slow death, because all the doctors, you know, who understand starvation already told us what is going to happen to that generation of children, right? And the elders who can't make it will die. There is no peace talk anymore. There is some action being, you know, people are talking, I mean, like us on Freddie's program. We are talking, we are posting, we are sharing, we are protesting, we are doing BDS, we are doing everything within our means. Direct action in England, in the UK, was proscribed as a terrorist action, terrorist organization.
Palestinian Action is the name of the group.
Action. You know, so people are doing things. The world citizenry of conscience is trying to do everything within their means. But the people who can stop the genocide, I can't understand what hold the Zionist lobby and their agents have over these powers that be, that they can't stop this genocide. And it will, you know, a day will come when these people will be like the Nazis, when they will be held to account. And, you know, they will not get off like Blair and Bush for committing atrocities and war crime and genocide in Iraq and in Afghanistan. I don't think they will be let off the hook, Freddie, that they will come when, Biden and Blinken and Austin and Trump and the Lion and all of these people will be dragged in front of the international court for complicity in genocide. That's my take.
Thanks, Haseeb. Before we go back alphabetically to Imam Baksh, I wonder what it would be like in the universities of the third world as we teach philosophy and we teach history. It is generally accepted in the third world universities among third world scholars that the most degrading, malignant, evil process that occurred in human civilization is slavery. As someone trained in philosophy and history, I would say the second most evil act that human history has produced is what occurred the past 20 months, from 23 still going on to 2025 in genocide. I cannot, in none of my readings, and I have read voluminously, an army could be bombing from the air, women and children lining up, and this will now cause a revision of how we teach history in certain parts of the world. I cannot believe that a regime could emerge that was worse than Hitler in Nazi Germany, and it has. And I'm so thankful for life that I have lived to see it. But before we get back, Israel is 8,000 square miles, a little tiny part of Guyana, and that is why they stopped quickly with the thing with Iran, because when Iran started to bomb them, they knew that Iran, within a day, could get rid of 8,000 square miles and who were living in 8,000 square miles. So you're not hearing now and in the foreseeable future, they wouldn't touch Iran, because Iran showed them that within days they could obliterate 8 million people living in a square mile of 8,000. So, why we have to understand why it's keeping that regime of 8 million people, 8,000 square miles, is what Haseeb referred to. The West. Do you know the British foreign minister a few months ago, not the current Keir Starmer Labour government, the government of Rishi Sunak, the Conservative government, he told the ICC, International Criminal Court man, if they continue to seek war crime against Netanyahu, Britain will pull out of the War Crime Court. David Cameron. Now, it is people like Trump, it is people like Macron in France, it's the West that is allowing this genocide to go on, Western countries. And when we speak about Gaza and we speak about genocide, we cannot exonerate the West. I will hand over to Brother Mansoor by saying the West now has shown us that maybe they are equal in mentality to Adolf Hitler. Forget about Stalin, that Stalin was this and Stalin was that. We are now seeing who worse than Hitler and who are worse than Stalin. Brother Mansoor?
Thank you so much. I cannot agree with Brother Haseeb more when he said that the world will never be the same. The world has changed. And the minds of our young people are now changing. They are now becoming more violent. They are now becoming more accustomed to seeing violence. Violence is now an acceptable thing. And the question which is asked, what is the hold that they have on these world leaders? I will theorize that it is wealth. It is money. I think money changes people. I think wealth changes people. And I think what they have is that they have control of so much wealth. Because, normally two things will attract men, and one is wealth and the other is women. I don't think for those people who are involved, women will be much of an attraction. two things, because it's so it's available so abundantly, and secondly because of their age. But wealth is something, regardless of their age, they cannot resist. The United Nations has said every child under 5 in Gaza is at risk of malnourishment. This is not we are saying this. This is the United Nations pronouncement. Every child, not saying some or a percentage, every single child. Imagine if you get a child tomorrow and somebody tells you that your child will be malnourished. There's nothing you can do about that. And that is the fate of every Palestinian child under 5 years of age. So hunger or starvation as a warfare which was ruled out by the world is today being used by Israel, and we are not making that noise. I want to, before I go, I want to give the story of Abdurrahman ibn Jahal. He went for food, he said, for the first time, and he went there, and they started shooting at him. He got hit in his eye, and they put a bandage over that eye, of course, before they took the picture. But he said even after he was shot, the soldiers keep shooting at them, and they were shooting at them. 3 of his friends fell. He survived. He didn't go there with a stone. He didn't go there with a brick. He went there because they were invited for food. They went there to collect food. What did he receive? Bullets. Is it fair? Imagine if one person is shot on the street in Guyana, the noise we will make. Oh, look what's happening here. If a single child is shot, look at the number of persons who are mutilated and shot in Palestine, and nobody is making a hue and a cry. My friends, it is time that we realize as human beings that this cannot go on, this should not go on, this must not go on. We must speak out, and we must speak out now about it. Thank you very much.
Imam of Metamesa Mosque, Brother Halim Khan.
Yes. So if you look at the size of Gaza, and while the media was concentrating on showing what was happening in Gaza, the army, the Zionist army, was concentrating on the West Bank. And we can see the amount of homes which they're destroying. They're giving these people half an hour to leave the home and actually break down the 5-story building. So Gaza is like from Georgetown to Parika. And at some point, and some part is like 4 kilometers, and some is like about 4 miles, and some part is like about 8 miles, the widest part. This to show you or demonstrates that the size, like from here to Parika, they're bombing it for 2 years. With the amount of tonnage of bombs which they use is more than what they use, I think, is World War II. Right? Far more than that. So this is the area which they continue bombing. And you know, sometimes you have a flock of sheep. You want to go move from one pen to the next. This is how they are treating the Palestinian people. Put them like in a paddock, move them. Listen, you have half an hour to evacuate this area. And that's how they be moving from one point to the next, and they don't have transportation. From the cradle, the very young one, to the one who reach the ageable one. They'll be moved and displaced from one point to the next. And the figure which they give you is like about 61,000 persons who die, who get killed in this war. But most of them are women and children. And if you look at the news, they will show you who's been getting killed. You never find that the babies who are 5 years old have a bomb on them strapped, or they have an AK-47. But what the media have been showing you is that the Israeli warplane coming from above and bombing these people And then you have people firing live bullets and people who go to collect food. This here should have never happened from the beginning. The first couple months, and one of the most important thing I want to mention, the Israeli government or Netanyahu administration or his regime, they don't have no intention to bring home those hostages. They don't have no intention at all. All what they want to do, and we have many examples in London where they bombed that place in London, and they blame it on the Palestinian people and on the PLO. They are the one responsible for most of the crimes. Can you imagine you went into a next country and you killed all the army and the general for the army and so on. You kill them and you boastful say you kill them. But when the bomb started falling, you get away to a next country. You must stand up. The people, not everyone in Israel, is agree with Netanyahu. Just yesterday, they had over 6,000 people in that square protesting to him to stop the war. But why he continue with that? We have also about 1,500 persons killed trying to get food, and most of that set of persons who get killed, who get martyred, who get murdered, they are most likely children. We never see something like this with, as our brother Freddie would have mentioned, that we never see something like this in our time in this history. This man, Netanyahu, he doesn't care for humanity. From the beginning of all the wars in the Middle East, he said, I could assure you that Iraq have weapons of mass destruction, and if you get rid of Saddam, your problem finished in the Middle East. He did the same for Gaddafi. Now he's trying with Iran. And most of the other countries, the Muslim countries, don't agree with Iran sometimes on their thinking. But Iran is the only country which they respect. Soon as the war starts, they said, ceasefire immediately. Because you know what happened? Iran has the much power in terms of fighting a war, not the Palestinian people. The Palestinian people doesn't have water to drink. How can they fight a war? But what they have that faith in them, that strong faith in them. Well, listen, this is my land, and no one should take away what I own. And this goes just as the Venezuelan people. Can you imagine? They come from Venezuela and they come to Guyana, and if they call themselves settlers and put you out of a house, what you gonna call them? Thief man. The bunch of settlers where they give them a nice name and put little cake and flour over it, there is a bunch of thieves. Can you imagine? You come from Europe and you come and take me my house, and you say you're a settler? Find somewhere else to settle. Go in the States, the United States, and settle there. Don't go in the land of the people who are helpless, doesn't have a tank to fight you.
The majority of people who view this program are Guyanese. But for those foreigners, they wouldn't know what I'm about to say. They wouldn't know that local idiom. But they bombed Iran and subsequently got a good cut ass. And I'm telling you, you have to go on social media. Forget about mainstream Western media. You have to see what Iran did with them. Trust me, for the viewers all over the world, Israel is not going to touch Iran now, tomorrow, next year, another 5 years. They know what Iran will do to 8,000 square miles. In modern warfare, you can bomb 8,000 square miles to Smitten in minutes. Brother Haseeb.
Yeah, like I said, you know, the scene in Gaza is unimaginable. It's apocalyptic. They have made Gaza unlivable. Everything has been destroyed. Now you're having surveillance from above, which they have prevented before with this, with the aid drops that they're having, and they're taking out shots of Gaza from the air, and it's unbelievable. the level of destruction. And that was the objective from the very beginning. The very beginning is to have the genocide, the extermination of the Palestinians, as many as you possibly can, and then push them into the south, like they are doing now. Set up these, it's a shame to mention even the word humanitarian fund, the Gaza humanitarian fund they call it. This is a killing field with 4 distribution points, like the brothers mentioned. The people from all over are pushed towards that point to go collect aid, and then they're killed. And they have made it no secret that they're setting up concentration camps, and they are going to push, over 600,000 people into those camps, and then they are going to expel them permanently from Gaza. Their goal is ethnic cleansing in Gaza, and the goal, like Imam said, is the ethnic cleansing of the West Bank also. So they've already passed the law that they have annexed, officially annexed the West Bank, and the settlers are there to do their work, their evil work, under the cover of religion. And they are backed by the Christian Zionists, who is more vociferous than the Jewish Israeli Zionists, to achieve this so-called religious goal of the expulsion of the Palestinians from their land and their destruction, and the imminent destruction of Islam's third holiest place, Masjid al-Aqsa, and to achieve their greater Israel goal. They have seen this as the opportunity, with the complicity of the Western governments, with the support of the Americans. The Americans is hand in glove in this genocide. This is not Israel genocide alone.
Yeah, this is the Western.
This is the American genocide. The American without
Trump is shamelessly backing.
Support,
Trump is shamelessly backing. I hope after that man loses power, the subsequent government charges him.
They could have not done this at all without the support of the Americans, and they could not have bombed Iran also without the support of the Americans. But the Americans realized that Iran is not a quick walkover, right? They thought it was a quick thing and finish with Iran, but it didn't happen that way. So the Greater Israel Project is the aim, and the lobby, the Israeli lobby, AIPAC in America, is so formidable a force. But I'll tell you what, and we all are witnessing now, that the MAGA supporters, the right-wingers, are now waking up. They are now talking out. They are now saying that our country is now kidnapped, that we are serving another interest, and we are more concerned about that interest than our own interest. And this wasn't Trump's election plan or strategy. So he is now being questioned by his own support base. World public opinion. This is what we can comfort ourselves with, brothers and sisters out there. And I know many of you Guyanese, we are not people that would come out and would express ourselves, and not all of us would have the opportunity to. But I know the majority, the world's population, is against the genocide, and the world's population, the view of the world, the world public opinion is turning away from Israel to understand the atrocities of the occupation. And that's a comfort for us. So let's continue talking.
Well, before we go back to Brother Mansoor, and then we're going to our last round now, I want to say that the MAGA advocacy had an effect on Trump on the Gaza thing. You know what? You can't get these things from CNN, the Western media. Trump was under pressure by the Israelis to chip in and bomb Iran. Trump did a few quick things by where Iran have the nuclear thing, said we put them out of commission, and shut up, because because he was under pressure from his mother constituency not to fight Iran. So he do a little bombing and say, we took out Iran nuclear facilities are quite intact. But before we go to Brother Mansoor, I read a famous British woman, Jewish British writer said something. And I'd like us to ponder on it as we leave the mosque to go home. She said, the Nazis made the Jews into what they are now. And there is no other race of people who knew better how to commit genocide than the Jews, how to torture people, how to kill children, how to get through the whole race, because they saw the Nazis doing it. So when you murder a Nazi general, the Nazis went and burned down everybody else, burned down the whole villages. So the logical choice to succeed the Nazi mentality was the Jewish race. And we're seeing it now. Mansoor, we got 8 minutes more to go. It's your turn.
Very quickly, thank you, Freddie. Very quickly, I want to say that for the Jews, this killing of the children is not something new. We have the story of Pharaoh, where Pharaoh also killed their children, their firstborn. That's a story that is well known. So what we are seeing now is they're responding. And they're responding with so much, as is described in the Quran, with so much hard-heartedness, their hearts have become hard like stone. There is nothing you could tell them that will cause them to soften up. No, they will not. They just don't see you as a human being. And that's a sad situation. Because if you don't see people as human beings, if you see them just as pests, then it doesn't matter what drug you use to get rid of your pests, you will just spray them and kill them. So they don't see the Palestinians as human beings. That is the sad story.
The way the Nazis saw them.
Dehumanized the entire Palestinian nation. So they're just some pests to get rid of. And that's a sad situation, because we across the world, we see human beings as human beings. And we can't understand that level of hatred. I raise my voice, and I hope and pray that others will join and raise their voices for the Palestinian people and in this cause. It is a cause that we should all unite in.
Brother Halim, we got 6 minutes more, or 5.5.
So first of all, let me say, this is the last of the program. I must say to you, Mr. Freddie, that you have taken this brave step, although you are not a Muslim of the religion, Islam, but I know you believe.
Married to a Muslim woman for 46 years.
Yes. So I don't think if...
Has a daughter with a Muslim name.
So I don't think that they push you out here to do this because of that braveness of you. And you stand out for that humanity.
No, man. I studied philosophy.
Yes.
This is genocide.
Yes.
How can any human not?
Right.
No, this is my studies coming out here.
So all of other persons would have many persons study in the same area too, but they didn't come out and say that. So we want to thank you.
I don't understand why West Indian people are not coming out.
Yes, we want to thank you for this great step.
Yes.
What we're going to do, right? Let's see what goes on the next 6 weeks, and we do another program.
Also, the only person who can stop this war is not the United States, but the man who's leading the United States, Trump.
Yeah.
He can stop this war almost immediately and say this war have to stop.
But he wouldn't.
And he wouldn't stop that because, you know what, he's a puppet for Netanyahu too also. He's still supplying arms to them. Finally, I want to say that they should allow aids to go to the Palestinian people. Avoid the settlers or the thief men who blocking the aid up to yesterday. They're blocking trucks which is coming in from Jordan for not reaching to a point. And you can imagine if you have 6,000 Israelis is protesting, end the war and allow aids for them to go in, and they not listen to them. They have their own objective, and that objective could have only come from the one who God Almighty warned us about, Satan. So look, not as just a war criminal, Netanyahu, but he is number one Satan disciple. That is why he continued to kill people. I can't see that you would kill, starve a child from not getting milk. A formula. Look at them just like that and shoot them. The soldiers at an altar, they don't have a heart. And if they could look at that small child and shoot at that child, can you imagine those people who have the 12 and 13 and 18-year-old daughter when they're in the house? If they can look at a small child and shoot that child, what else you think they could do happen to that or sisters in their house?
Haseeb, we got 4 minutes. 4 minutes to go.
I agree with the brothers that this is what Fanon said in his the colonized and the colonized.
Yeah, Fanon.
So the people who were genocided, the Holocaust survivors and the children of Holocaust survivors, it's like an irony. How is it that they can now commit genocide against the thing that they themselves went through? But I agree with that. It's a kind of a psychology there. You learn the art. This was done to you, so you develop you become numb to the suffering of others, and everything, all of the stages of the Holocaust are reacted in this in their own Holocaust against the Palestinians. We started with the dehumanization, the brutalization, the constant suffering, the mowing the lawn. All of these things have now climaxed in the crime of crimes, the genocide against the Palestinian people, and their extermination and the ethnic cleansing of the whole of Palestine for the establishment of the Greater Israel Project. And I want to disagree with the brothers, that some of the brothers, and that is that the Israeli public is against the genocide. What is coming out from inside of Israel, and a good prophet's point is Gideon Levi, the Haaretz board member and columnist, that he himself is shocked and appalled at the level of support that the genocide is receiving from the Israeli public. And this is, excuse me, this is very disturbing. Because if the masses can accept that this is okay, then that society is in deep trouble. And I hope that very soon the Americans will wake up to the reality, and they would not accept what the Zionist lobby, both the Christian Zionists and the Israeli Zionists, have done to America to bring them to this point where they are the supporters and the backers of the genocide. And also the Western media, they are changing their tune now, is also complicit. So, reckoning will come someday. Thank you.
Well, he did, Mansoor did say in his opening statement he wanted to declare that not all Jews and not all Jews are like that, and certainly not. Jewish students took in the thousands to protest what was going on in the US. And Halim pointed to 6,000 Jews in Tel Aviv. At least that is something comforting.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not discounting that at all, right? They support the Jewish students and those who are leading the whole struggle against the genocide. I fully agree with that. But I'm talking about the level of...
Yes, I know that you say that should not, a nation should not accept that.
The level of indoctrination is happening within Israeli society itself. This is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about...
Okay, I want us to conclude by saying that I said I would have said this on the program, but I know you got to be very sensitive when you're commenting on race. Race you don't touch. And so I will back down and not give my views on the Arab race. But how a race of people that occupied some fantastic countries with fantastic military, how could you ask the Indians, the Chinese, the Russians to intervene with what is happening in Gaza, and you could stop that? Just briefly, forget about that clown in Turkey, President Erdogan. who said he will military intervene. But that man is perhaps the world's biggest clown. So briefly, let's conclude. How could the Arabs have allowed that? And allowing it. Brother Mansoor and then Halim, and then very quickly.
I want to say that the powers that be have the same control on the Arab world as they have in Guyana. How could we allow our oil to be sold for less than 2%? The same way they have the control in all those countries.
Brother Halim?
Yeah, I think that's what the United States, what those Arab countries, the leaders are dependent on. The United States to protect them, to keep them in power.
Yeah, because they're minority governments in the country.
That is the only reason.
Haseeb?
Yes, that's it.
You lived in Saudi Arabia, you must have seen the disgust of the Arab people.
The people are disgusted, but the people have been suppressed. And the Arab streets is not like before. Many things have changed on the Arab streets, and this is why their governments can be complicit in genocide, complicit or coward with genocide, because the Arab streets have been quieted and cowed, but that would not remain forever, and they are cognizant of that. So reckoning is also coming for the Arab governments who are complicit in genocide.
But they must be some of the most disgusted, abominable, evil people in the world. The monarchy in Jordan, the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. These people have no conscience, but we have to do this again. Thanks for being with us. Whatever is left of Wednesday evening, please enjoy. This was a sad program and a sad moment in the history of civilization. We were discussing the worst violent event, the second worst violent event in human history after slavery, the genocide of the Palestinian people. A level of horror never been seen before except history in human civilization. With us was the Imam of Metamesa, Brother Halim Khan, the Imam of the Ahmadiyya Mosque on Brigham, next to the NIS, Brother Mansoor Baksh. We are filming from inside that mosque, and well-known scholar who lived in Saudi Arabia for a long time, Brother Yusuf Haseeb, formerly of the Islamic Trust.